Subtle, diverse, and balanced, Vietnam's rich heritage and compelling natural beauty, with blue tropical waters to its evergreen hills and remarkably exotic Haiwan Pass, is also reflected in its marvelous cuisine. Rice is an important ingredient in Vietnam staple food, and at almost every corner you will find a stall or restaurant with soups, rice, and varieties of meats or noodles. Hello and welcome to a new season of the Gourmet Bawarchi. In today's episode, I'm going to be making a rice paper Frankie. Now this is going to be a fusion between two distinct cuisines, one being the slightly sour and tangy flavors of Vietnam and the popping hot and spicy flavors of the street side Frankie. So let's get started with our exciting recipe. For the first step, we're going to have to be making the Frankie masala, and to do that we'll need some spices, starting with some whole black pepper, some dried pomegranate seeds, some dried cumin, some asafoetida or hing, salt, turmeric, some red chili powder, some amchur powder, and some coriander powder. So for the next step, we are going to be using the whole dried spices and toasting them before we powder it and mix it with the powdered spices. So it's always important when you toast spices, you do so on a very low flame for a longer time as opposed to a high flame for a short time, because the spices have a tendency to get burnt very quickly, so you have to be vigilant when you're doing it. Now that we have finished toasting the spices and it's cooled down sufficiently, let's move on to blending the mixture. Now that the whole spices are blended, it should look something like this. Now to complete the Frankie masala, we are going to be adding the powdered spices to the blended spices. For the first step in a Frankie masala, we are going to be sauteing some onions with some oil, and once it's become nice and golden brown, we'll add the powdered masalas, and finally we'll add this mixture to our already boiled potatoes. Once your pan is nice and hot, add a little bit of oil and then add the chopped onion. Now what I usually do is right at the beginning, I add a little bit of salt. So this helps in the browning process by releasing the excess moisture in the onions. Now that the onions are nice and golden brown, it's time to add part of the masala. You would require about a tablespoon or a tablespoon and a half. Now that we've added the masala to our browned onions, it's time to add the boiled potatoes and mash it. Once the potatoes are nicely mashed, it should look something like this. Now that we are done with making our potato mixture, let's move on to making our creamy peanut sauce. First, we're going to be using some peanut butter, some red chili sauce for some heat, some cream cheese for milkiness, some soy sauce for some salt, and finally you can add some coconut milk. Now that we've added all the fluid ingredients, it's time to add a hint of brown sugar for sweetness, and we're also going to squeeze a little bit of lime in it. Now that our sauce is ready, it's time to take it out into a bowl. Now that we're done with all the pre-preparations, it's time to involve our star ingredient, which is the Vietnamese rice paper. Now this is such a beautiful ingredient. All you have to do is dip it in some lukewarm water. Once the rice paper is nicely immersed, it becomes nice and pliable, and you can actually see each and every ingredient that you stuff into it. Now that you spread out the rice paper nice and uniformly, the first step is to add the lettuce. Then let's add some of the purple cabbage that has been finely shredded. Then some shredded carrot, some sliced onions, some chopped up fresh mint, and finally some of this beautiful pomegranate seeds. At this step, you can also add a little more of the masala so that it flavors the vegetables and gives a little bit of saltiness to it. Now, the most important step is adding the Frankie masala. Just spread it evenly. Pull the entire mixture slightly towards you and then start to roll. Once you're rolled halfway through, pinch each of the ends and then complete the roll. Now it's time to plate our rice paper Frankie. Hope you enjoyed this recipe today and see you next week. Hey everybody, if you like our show, please drop us a like. If you dislike it, let us know in the comments. For a variety of daily and weekly shows, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, you can drop us a suggestion for our future recipes and get in touch for personal orders.